Good morning, everybody. Ready? All right, take that as a yes. I'm Director Ron Linvey. I'm the Director of Investigations and Homeland Security here for the Sheriff's Office. I'm here to provide you with initial briefing regarding the police-involved incident that we've had this morning. Last night, April 25th, at about 7:49 p.m., police officers were called to the 300 block of East 19th Street in reference to a domestic dispute and domestic battery that had just occurred. Officers responded and found the male suspect had fled the scene prior to their arrival, but their investigation confirmed that a domestic battery had occurred and also determined the suspect had violated an active domestic violence injunction for protection during this incident. Officers completed the appropriate reports to follow up on the case. At 12:36 a.m., a call came in concerning the same suspect returning to the scene of the original crime. The original investigating officer and a backup officer arrived and found the suspect seated in a car that was parked in the driveway. Officers communicated to the suspect that he was being arrested for the incident that had happened that evening and gave him verbal commands. The suspect did not follow the verbal commands, became combative, and physically resisted officers as they struggled with him to take him into custody. Both officers deployed tasers in an attempt to gain compliance as the struggle escalated. The suspect gained control of an officer's taser during the continuing struggle, and one of the officers fired shots from his issued handgun at the suspect. The suspect was struck by the gunfire, and rescue was called to treat him. Their efforts to save him were unsuccessful, and the suspect died at the scene. And we'll provide more information on the continuing investigation as it becomes available, as we normally do, but I will answer any questions that you might have for the moment.
Are you releasing the suspect's name?
No, that'll happen later.
Was his wife there with him when he was shot?
I'm not going to release any details such as that until later on today when everything gets confirmed. We're only a few hours into this investigation, and I don't want to put out any erroneous information early.
How many times was he shot?
I'm not going to release that right now either.
Can you give us any information about the domestic battery that happened prior? What exactly occurred there? Can you release that at this point?
I'm going to have, hopefully, that report for you, hopefully as soon as later on this afternoon. But there was a physical struggle between this man and a woman at this location. It's been described as her being drug around by her hair, but there may have been some more physical interaction involved as well. But I have not read that report myself, so I don't want to be too conclusive on that until we have it for you.
When he got a hold of an officer's taser, did he use it on an officer?
Once again, I'm not going to be able to get into that detail at this point in time. The investigators are still working through all those details at the scene.
Does the officer have a history of anything like this?
Once again, I'll get into that later on this afternoon as well. In our normal protocol, when we release the officer's name, his history with the agency, and all that.
Can you talk at all about the resistance part of not complying with the officers? Like how he resisted? Like would he not get out of the car, or was he
all the above?
Throwing punches, that kind of thing?
He would not get out of the car, and when they were able to get him out of the car, he continued to struggle with them and would not submit to being arrested.
Were any officers maybe shoved or hit in any manner during this struggle that you're referring to?
There was physical interaction with them, but I don't want to characterize details because I want to make sure we're accurate before we put anything out.
When the officers initially responded to the domestic call-out, were they aware of this man's domestic history and criminal past?
I don't have any information on that at this point.
Explain the process of moving the briefing here to downtown to headquarters instead of at the scene where it was originally scheduled.
We have investigative activity going on both there and here, and it was my decision to hold it here.
Sir, the woman on scene who identified herself as his wife, she mentioned that her husband did not have a weapon. Can you confirm that?
I'm not going to be able to confirm any details about that interaction, but I hope to have some more for you this afternoon.
Approximately what time are you thinking?
It'll be later on in the afternoon. I need to let the investigators do their jobs and let this play out throughout the day.
Will you be calling in an outside agency to investigate?
We're going to follow our normal protocols that we normally do. The state attorney's office was there with us this morning, and they'll continue their investigation. The medical examiner's office will be out there as well.
Any word on how long you all are going to be at the scene? It's a lot of areas are blocked off. And
Sure.
Just for that part of our, so we can tell our viewers.
It's a fair question. I can tell you they're going to release areas. They'll collapse in as they can to try to get things back to normal for any kind of rush hour traffic this morning. But they're going to maintain that scene until daylight at least, so they can continue the processing to make sure nothing's missed.
I'm not sure if you can release this, but I'll go ahead and ask. Can you tell us anything about that violation for protection order? It actually involves the woman who did notify police. Were you all the one was she the one who called you all?
there was a woman that notified us. I'm not going to be able to identify her at this point in time, and she is the subject of an active domestic violence injunction for protection against the individual who we're speaking about as the suspect today.
Is in effect, okay.
Yep. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, sir.